Have you ever whispered a secret desire into the night sky, and somehow, without warning, life began conspiring to deliver it? It almost feels as if the stars themselves leaned closer to listen. But what if I told you, this isn't chance? What if there is an ancient, forgotten language that allows you to speak directly to the universe and be heard? For thousands of years, mystics, sages, and seekers have hinted at a hidden dialogue between the human soul and the cosmos. It is not a dialogue of words, but of vibration, intention, and sacred alignment. The universe, vast and infinite as it seems, is not a distant, indifferent machine. It is alive, it is conscious, and it is listening. Yet most stumble in the dark, shouting their dreams into the void, wondering why nothing answers back. The truth is, speaking to the universe is not about begging, demanding, or wishing. It is about remembering how to harmonize with the hidden symphony of existence itself. Like a skilled musician tuning their instrument before a sacred concert, you must learn how to tune your own being before your voice can merge with the chorus of creation. In this journey, we will unveil the lost art of communicating with the infinite. We will explore ancient wisdom whispered through time, decode the subtle mechanics of cosmic conversation, and reveal how you can not only send your deepest intentions into the universe, but how you can feel its answer echoing back into your life. By the end of this exploration, you will not just understand how to speak to the universe, you will become the kind of soul the universe cannot help but answer. Are you ready to remember the ancient language written in your very spirit? Then let us begin. Long before the noise of modern life clouded the senses, ancient civilizations gazed upon the heavens not merely for wonder, but for conversation. The Egyptians, their pyramids aligned with the stars, believed that every word spoken with purity of heart was carried upward on the breath of the gods. In the sacred texts of the Vedas, the universe is described as woven from sound, a vibration, a living tapestry where thought and word are not separate from reality, but the very loom upon which destiny is spun. In Hermetic philosophy, traced back to the legendary Thoth, known to the Greeks as Hermes Trismegistus, it is taught that the all is mind, that all of creation exists within a vast intelligent consciousness, and that to think, to will, to intend, is to stir the very fabric of existence. The famous axiom declares, "As above, so below, as within, so without." To speak to the universe, therefore, is not to project outward into some distant abyss, but to recognize that the abyss itself is a mirror of your innermost being. The mystics of Sufism spoke of this too, of a sacred yearning, ishq, a divine love that pulls the soul toward unity with the beloved, the infinite. They believed that when one's heart becomes clear, desires spoken in silence are heard by the universe, not with ears, but through the eternal pulse of existence. In the Kabbalistic teachings of the Tree of Life, reality is described as a layered unfolding from the unknowable source, Ein Sof, into the material realm. Each thought, each emotion, each intention travels these invisible pathways, either rising upward in prayer or descending downward into manifestation. Here, words are not mere sounds. They are carriers of force, channels for divine energy. Even the Native American traditions understood that the earth, the sky, the rivers, the mountains, all things possess a spirit, a voice. To speak to the universe, to them, was to speak in reverence, to recognize the sacredness woven into every grain of sand and every gust of wind. To demand was foolishness, but to honor, to feel, to commune, this was the true language of life. Across cultures, continents, and millennia, a single truth persists like an underground river feeding every sacred text, every whispered prayer. The universe is not a machine. It is a being, and the dialogue with it is not written in human words, but in frequency, emotion, thought, and spirit. Yet, as the centuries rolled on, as empires rose and fell, as rationalism took the throne from mysticism, this ancient art was forgotten by the many and preserved only by the few. It became hidden in symbols, encrypted in sacred geometry, and veiled behind the allegories of secret societies and mystery schools. But today, the veil begins to thin once again. The knowledge is resurfacing for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. To speak to the universe is not to learn a new skill. It is to remember an ancient one that your soul already knows. Now that we have glimpsed the ancient roots of this profound art, it is time to dive deeper into the very mechanics of how this cosmic dialogue truly works. Imagine standing before a great cosmic river, its waters endless, shimmering with stars. This river does not speak in the way humans do. It speaks in vibration, feeling, and intention. To speak to the universe is to cast a stone of pure thought into this river and watch as the ripples flow outward into unseen worlds. At its heart, speaking to the universe is an act of resonance. Everything in existence vibrates. Your thoughts, emotions, even the very cells of your body emit subtle frequencies, just as a tuning fork causes another tuning fork nearby to vibrate when struck. Your inner state sends out an invisible wave that either harmonizes with the universe or dissipates into noise. The first secret is this: the universe responds not to your words, but to your energy. You could chant 1,000 affirmations with your mouth, but if your heart is filled with doubt, the universe listens to your doubt. You could pray for abundance, but if you secretly believe you are unworthy, it is your sense of unworthiness that the universe hears and magnifies. This is why ancient initiates spent years mastering their inner states before even attempting to manifest or command. They understood. To speak to the universe, you must become a pure instrument, tuned precisely to the frequency of your true desire. The second secret is clarity. Imagine trying to tune an ancient radio. If the signal is weak, static clouds the message. If your intention is muddy, if you simultaneously desire and fear, hope and despair, the universe receives mixed signals. It does not punish you. It simply mirrors back the confusion you sent. Clarity is like a laser piercing the mist. When your mind, heart, and will are aligned, when you hold a singular, unwavering vision, the universe responds with breathtaking speed and precision. Clarity is not just knowing what you want. It is embodying the certainty that it is already yours, that it exists now, in the unseen. The third secret is emotion. Emotion is the fuel that powers intention. Without emotion, intention is a dry, brittle leaf blown about by the winds of chance. With emotion, true, heartfelt, visceral emotion, intention becomes a flaming arrow shot straight into the heart of the cosmos. Joy, gratitude, love, awe, these are the sacred fires. They elevate your vibration and magnify your voice across the dimensions. Thus, when you speak to the universe, you must not merely think your desire, you must feel it, live it, breathe it into the marrow of your bones as if it were already manifest. The final key of this first revelation is letting go. Paradoxical as it may seem, the most powerful prayers are those released with faith, not clutched with fear. To speak to the universe and then grasp and obsess is to pull your arrow back from its flight. Once you have sent your message, pure, clear, and fueled with true emotion, you must release it into the hands of the unseen. Trust is the signature that seals your cosmic letter. It is as if you sent a sacred message upstream and then sat serenely by the river, knowing that the current will deliver it where it must go. This patience, this surrender is not weakness. It is the deepest form of mastery. Thus, to truly speak to the universe, you must learn to become a being of resonance, clarity, emotion, and surrender. A living prayer moving through space and time. But there are deeper layers still, hidden beneath the surface. In the next part of our journey, we will uncover the finer mechanics, the unseen levers and ancient practices that few ever dare to master. Consider the law of vibration. Everything vibrates. Yes, but vibrations of similar nature attract each other. If you wish to manifest love, but you radiate resentment, you are aligned not with love, but with lack. The river of the universe will mirror not your spoken words, but your dominant energetic pattern. Thus, to truly speak with power, you must first harmonize your inner world with the universal laws. You must become the frequency of that which you seek, not merely request it. The second deeper principle is sacred imagination. The imagination has been tragically misunderstood in the modern age, reduced to the domain of children and dreamers. But the ancients knew, imagination is the workshop of the soul. In the Eleusinian mysteries, initiates were taught to see the desired reality with such clarity, such conviction, that the astral realms, the unseen template of existence, began to reshape themselves accordingly. Visualization, when done properly, is not mere fantasy. It is the conscious crafting of vibrational blueprints. What you vividly imagine, emotionally inhabit, and repeatedly affirm, you carve into the ether like a sculptor chiseling marble. The universe, in turn, reads these blueprints and responds not out of favoritism, but out of resonance. The third deeper principle is timing and cycles. Ancient civilizations, from the Mayans to the Druids to the Taoist sages, revered the rhythms of the cosmos. They understood that there are tides and seasons, not only in nature but in energy. There are moments when the veil between the physical and spiritual thins, times when speaking to the universe becomes infinitely more potent. These windows can be found during celestial alignments, moon phases, or personal cycles of inner transformation. To speak to the universe without awareness of timing is like planting seeds in frozen ground. But when you learn to listen, to feel the currents of energy, you will know when to speak your intentions into the fertile soil of destiny. The fourth and most hidden principle is identity transmutation. At the deepest level, the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. If you see yourself as separate from your desires, as lacking, as needing to be filled, you are perpetually sending the signal of separation. But when you become the version of yourself who already lives in the reality you seek, when you think, feel, and act as if it is already so, the universe has no choice but to align your external world with your internal state. Identity is the architect of destiny. Thus, to speak to the universe most powerfully, you must undergo an inner alchemy, not merely asking for change, but embodying it. You must step into the temple of your own soul and declare, not with desperation, but with sacred certainty, "It is done." In this, the greatest secret is revealed. You do not truly speak to the universe. You speak as the universe, awakening to the truth that you and it were never separate at all. Now that we have unveiled the profound mechanisms behind this cosmic dialogue, it is time to step out of theory and into practice. In the next part of our journey, we will explore how you can begin applying these principles today. Real, tangible techniques to awaken your dialogue with the infinite. Now, the path from understanding to mastery lies through action. To truly speak to the universe, not with idle words, but with the force that shapes destinies, you must become a living ritual, a conscious participant in the great symphony of existence. Here are the sacred steps to initiate this divine conversation. 1. Prepare the temple of the self. Before you utter a single word, the true preparation begins within. Each day, set aside a sacred space, a quiet corner, a patch of earth beneath the open sky, a simple candle-lit room. Still your mind. Breathe deeply until your thoughts no longer race ahead or linger behind. Imagine yourself as a clear, still lake, ready to reflect the light of the stars without distortion. Purity of intention is the key. If you approach the universe from fear, desperation, or entitlement, you cloud the signal. But when you approach from a place of gratitude, wonder, and reverence, you open a portal. 2. Clarify your intent through sacred writing. Take pen to paper, not in haste, but in ceremony. Write your desire as if it were already real. Do not plead. Do not bargain. Instead, affirm, I am grateful for the abundance that flows effortlessly into my life. I walk daily in the love that now surrounds and fills me. Use language that embodies certainty and gratitude. In this act of writing, you etch your intention into both your mind and the subtle realms. 3. Invoke the power of visualization. After writing, close your eyes. Picture your reality, not as a distant dream, but as a vivid, sensory-rich experience happening now. Feel the textures, smell the scents, hear the sounds. Witness yourself moving through this reality with joy and ease. Most importantly, feel the emotions, as if you have already received what you desire. This emotional charge is the current that carries your message into the depths of the universe. 4. Release through ritual and trust. Once your intention is set, it must be released. You might speak it aloud under the open sky, whisper it into a candle's flame, or imagine it carried by a beam of light into the infinite. Then, let it go. Do not obsess. Do not dig up the seed you have planted by doubting whether it will grow. Instead, trust. Trust that the universe, in its perfect intelligence, has already received your message and begun to orchestrate the unseen pathways that will lead you to its fulfillment. 5. Live as if. The final and most powerful step is to act in alignment with your new reality. If you have spoken abundance into being, carry yourself with the generosity, openness, and confidence of one who knows abundance is their natural state. If you have spoken love into being, live as if you are already immersed in love, treating yourself and others as sacred reflections of that love. In doing so, you become a resonant beacon, a living embodiment of your prayer, drawing the unseen into the seen with irresistible force. Overcoming common challenges. You may find doubts arising. You may be tempted to fall back into old patterns of fear or scarcity. When this happens, do not curse the darkness. Simply return, again and again, to your sacred practices. Recenter, reaffirm, revisualize, resurrender. Each challenge is a refinement, a fire that purifies your intention and strengthens your resonance. Remember, speaking to the universe is not a one-time event. It is a way of being, a dance of spirit and matter, a conversation written across lifetimes. As you walk this path, you will find the distance between your desires and their manifestations growing shorter. You will come to realize that the universe was never deaf to your voice. It was simply waiting for you to remember the language of the soul. Now, with these sacred practices in your hands, the conversation can truly begin. The universe is not some distant, indifferent force. It is a living, breathing consciousness, one that listens, feels, and responds to the silent music of your soul. When you speak to the universe with clarity, with emotion, with sacred imagination and unwavering trust, you do not merely cast wishes into the void. You enter into an ancient covenant, a sacred dance where your inner world and the outer cosmos begin to mirror one another. Today, you have uncovered the deeper mysteries, the power of resonance, the art of emotional frequency, the ancient laws that govern creation, and the practical rituals that transform words into worlds. You now know that to speak to the universe is to become the message, to embody the prayer, and to live as the fulfillment of your own sacred longing. But knowledge alone is not enough. The real magic begins when you act, when you step beyond understanding into embodiment, when you rise each day and affirm your union with the cosmos, when you hold your visions with reverence, plant your seeds in trust, and move through the world as one who knows. The universe is listening. The universe is responding. The universe is you, dreaming yourself into being. So tonight, when the stars emerge and the night air hums with unseen electricity, find a quiet place. Close your eyes. Speak, not with words of pleading, but with the silent, thunderous voice of knowing. And watch as the universe answers you in ways more wondrous than you could ever imagine. If you are ready to step deeper into this sacred dialogue, leave a comment below. I am ready to speak the language of the universe. And if this journey has awakened something ancient within you, remember to like this video and share it with others who are ready to remember who they truly are. Until our paths cross again. Keep speaking, keep dreaming, and above all, keep becoming.